Hi YouTube, XtremeTrainz here. So this next video is something which is a bit different, not what I expected to do, and it's a review of an item which I had not even seen anything about online, outside of stores or anything like that. I literally saw these one day in my local Target and I was like, this is interesting. It's 75th anniversary and also contains new packaging for the Thomas push-along / Trackmaster push-along range. So that's why I picked up this review. We're looking at the birthday surprise 10-pack. As you will have seen from the thumbnail and also the title of this video. So, what are you waiting for? Let's do it. Alright, so here is the packaging for the Celebrate with Thomas push-along set. Now, notice a couple of really interesting things about this packaging. Firstly, it's got the new push-along branding here. So this is part of the new rebrand that's coming towards the end of this year, which is having it become motorized and push-along and wood. And essentially that's how they're going to categorize all the sets going forward. No more Trackmaster. Trackmaster is dead. So you can see here, this is the packaging, and you can see it's got that 75th sticker on there. Celebrate with Thomas, metal engines and vehicles, includes 10 friends. You can see who it includes. You got actually quite an interesting variety of engines included here, and there's a little Thomas up the corner. Nothing particularly interesting on the side. The back's quite interesting. There's no pictures of the engines or anything. It's just a giant Thomas with a party hat. Invite Thomas and all his friends along to your next party. They'll bring a gift, which is a bit weird, but I guess it's in reference to this here, which is obviously the truck with a gift in it. What's interesting about this, I think quite cool, is this new barcode on here, which I will just zoom in on so you can see it a bit better. Look at that. There's a little Thomas on the barcode, and I think that's cool. I like that a lot. Obviously, it doesn't make a massive difference to anyone, but that's fine. You can see you got the old little logo there. Made in Thailand, blah, blah, blah. There you go, recycling information, and that's pretty much all there is to these new boxes. The top has just got this on the top. So it's interesting how little the push-along or Trackmaster, the branding of what the product actually is really only mentioned here, and there's no other logos, which I think is quite interesting. So interesting new brand. I think the packaging is really nice in terms of it's bright, it's easy to see what's inside, presents the items really well. But that's enough on this new packaging. Let's actually get these engines out and see what they're like. So as you can see, this is quite an interesting set. So let's take a look and get the weird one out of the way first. So there's Harold here, which is obviously the push-along Harold. Now I haven't handled this Harold before, so I haven't seen it, but it does feel pretty nice. The propellers spin up really nicely. You actually get to spin both of them too, which is good. Details seem fine. Normal Harold face. If anything, this Harold face actually looks a lot less like the CGI and a lot more like the old classic Harold faces. You can see, obviously, he's been covered in kind of the party design, but I think that's fine. Yeah, I think this is a fine Harold toy. For the most part, I'm trying to work out exactly. My understanding is that this top part is the metal bit. Sorry, you can't. This top part is the metal bit, and where that seam is, the bottom part is plastic, is kind of what it feels like. So there's a decent amount of metal on this. But yeah, I think this Harold is a fine figure. The next one you get here is obviously Thomas. So this is the push-along Thomas, which is the same as the previous ones that I've looked at on my channel. Again, you can just see Thomas looks really wide, and I don't particularly like it. But it is nice to see that he does have all this party detailing. And they've done some nice little things here, like change the colors of his stripes so that they're kind of more party themed, which I think is kind of pretty nice attention to detail, to be honest. All the balloons here on the side, and the balloons here on this side, and that's kind of all the detail we've got there. So I think, again, nice, cool. The next one we get here is the Percy. Now, I have not handled the Trackmaster push-along Percy. Again, I think he doesn't look quite as awkwardly wide, but he's still, too wide. But I think from the side, he doesn't look too bad, this new Percy. Again, I really like the colourful bunting. He's got the colourful stripes as well. He's got the little envelopes here, which is a nice reference to the mail train. That's cool. And otherwise, you can see he's got those stripings or those colourings on the side, which I think does look quite fun. It looks very fun. Nia, I've just had a look at. So this is not the first time I've seen her. And again, I'm shocked by how much heavier she is than pretty much every other of these engines. Like, even she's heavier, I think, than Yongbao, which is wild to me. But anyway, again, you can see they've done a party theme for her as well, which is that on the top, which I think is a cool way to integrate her kind of 8-bit style with the party theme. And then, you know, they've got those little triangles on there. So I think, yeah, I think Nia looks fine. And again, it embraces that party theme a lot. The next you get is Annie and Clarabelle. I'm really glad we get both in this set. I think it would have been a bit silly if we'd only gotten one. So I think that's really nice. We get both. They do have the same face, which I think is too small, like too high up. It should be more in the middle, I think. But that's also because these are weirdly scaled. Look how big these windows are, and then look how big the little windows are, which are kind of relief molded in. Like their faces should be about 20%, 30% bigger, so they fill this whole thing up. But anyway, that is what it is. Yeah, these are nice in that they do have relief details on the side, and you do have that 3D actual the little roof markers on there. And I think they just went crazy with the detailing. Like, look how much of this party stuff is on there, and they've got streams and stuff on the side, which is nice. Detail is not the same for both of them, which is cool. So the party hats are different colors and the prints are different colors. I don't think the roof are the same. Let me have a look. Let's have a look, shall we? No, they've even got different paint on the roof, which is, again, nice attention to detail, not what I would expect. As you can see, they do have couplings so that they couple in the correct fashion. If we can just actually get this new system to couple up. So that is what they look like coupled together. And again, we can couple them to Thomas. Can we couple them to Thomas? Yes, we can. You can see, whoop, that is not what I want to do with the camera. You can see here, though, if we just get these other engines out of the way, that, you know, Thomas doesn't actually look as ridiculous as he does in some other lines, as these, pulling these along, and his little coaches, Annie and Clarabelle. And I actually think this looks kind of all right, you know, and it definitely looks fun and party. So I think that's nice at least, but we can move that out of the way. The next thing is the party car, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which counts as one of the 10 friends, even though it's literally just a random generic wagon. It doesn't even have a face. So you get this little plastic piece, which is just a present thing, which is fine, but it doesn't sit in the truck. Like, it doesn't clip in or anything. It just floats around. And then you get this die-cast truck, which I think is just a bit weird because it's not a troublesome truck. It's not really clear what it's for. You can see that the top part of it is all metal, and then the bottom part is the plastic bit. So it's fine, but I think it's like comically large. Like, if we connect this truck up to Percy, like, look at it. It's huge. So I think this truck is actually, to be honest, the weirdest part of this set. You know, again, if we cock it up to Nia, like, look how big it is. Yeah, so this truck, despite being, you know, the whole gift thing, is weird. The next one to look at is the Noor Jahan. I think I'm saying her name right. Noor Jahan? I think that's correct. She is a cool character and a cool locomotive to see represented in Thomas and Friends. I think it's just unfortunate that, again, looking at her, she's quite a long, slender locomotive, but in this Trackmaster style, she's quite wide. I've been very tempted to pick her up just in the normal version, but no, I think, yeah, her width is a bit of a problem, but it is nice to see that she has quite a lot of details. So you can see she's got all these details on the front here. I think the face is good. You know, the details on the buffer beams is nice, especially because you don't usually get that in, you know, this push-along style. This detailing is fine. Obviously, the wheels are pretty inaccurate, which is unfortunate, but that is the style of these trains. A lot of this detail is on her already, but my understanding is that all these little, like, flower details are the stuff that's been added on, similar onto the top here. And again, I think it's cool because I think it looks celebration, but also kind of matches the kind of scheme of her normal decoration. So I think that's cool. And interestingly, printing on the back, which you don't normally see, both on the buffer beams and also on to this tail light and the door here. So yeah, interesting model. Also interesting to note that this is it's quite stiff. It's not smooth and free like it is on the other engines. But yeah, she is an interesting engine. The next engine we've got here is Ashima. I've always quite liked Ashima. I think, again, they've kind of smushed her a bit too much with this new design because she is meant to be long and slender, but I think her printing is very nice. You know, you do get a lot of details along here, all the details along here. Again, you've got the balloons and the kind of confetti, which is not obviously on the normal version of her, but I think it's fine. I think it's an interesting inclusion to package both these two, because we've got two Indian engines in this set when, you know, Thomas has gone to other countries. So it's interesting that they included her. I understand why they included Shima, because she was one of the first engines that we saw in the Great Race and that kind of stuff. She was a pretty major character in that film, so it makes sense, but it also is like a little bit strange. But again, I think, you know, this is a fine toy. I think the other representations of her have been a bit nicer in terms of the scaling and stuff, but for what it is, I think it's all right, and it does look nice in the party. And the last one, and again, I quite like, I didn't mention this before, but the set has a bit of variety, and then we get some tank engines, we get a tender engine, we get a diesel, we get a big diesel at that too, different characters, you get a freight wagon, even weird, and a helicopter. So I think there's good variety in this set, which is nice. They could have just done the Steam team, but I'm glad they did something a bit different this time. And the last thing you get here is Yongbao, who looks very like he's not having a good time. That's a really weird face. You know, they've done an amazing job, I think, of detailing his dragon head here, which I think looks really nice, and I have not seen it that well detailed in most other merchandise, especially not like, for example, Thomas Wood. But this face, he looks so sad. That's not very party. That's not cool. Don't like that. I want him to have a nice face. I think, especially when it's a party theme, like, you know, Noor Jahan doesn't look super happy, but at least she's not, like, upset. But no, Yongbao looks like he's actually sad, like something bad has happened, which is unfortunate, I think, in this kind of set. Again, the detailing on these is quite nice in that you do get a lot of molded in detail on the top, and a lot is printed out and brought out, and you got the, you know, these kind of symbols on here, which are party, but they're also kind of a bit more closely thematically connected to, you know, China and the, you know, Yongbao's kind of theme. Again, unfortunate about the wheels. You know, it would have been nice to have the complex wheel design because he has a really cool pistons and stuff in the show, but, you know, that's not how Push Along works. Ha 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 ha. The tender is all plastic, so in terms of metal, just this top part is metal. You can come around, this green part is plastic as well, so it's just this red part on top, but it is very, very nicely detailed, and I think the paint, in terms of the party, is subtle enough that you could get away with having this as a normal Yongbao, but you can tell there's some other stuff going on, which I think is cool. And yes, you do get the names on the bottoms of these ones. Interesting though that just says Yongbao, it doesn't say Yongbao's tender. And yeah, you can see the tenders on these, I'm pretty sure, like Thomas Wood, they're all one standard size. Obviously, he's got a bit more detail in terms of the shaping and the printing, but this is all plastic. This just is what it is, and it's a little wagon that just connects like any other wagon. So it looks like that. All right, so what do I think of this party set? I actually think this is a pretty cool set. This, to me, is, I think, the kind of set which is a good way to celebrate 75th anniversary. I think it contains a nice, interesting mix of characters we haven't seen before. I really like the new decos, and I think it's cool that we get a mix of rolling stock and also engines, and, you know, even non-rail characters like Harold here. Obviously, all the problems that come with the Trackmaster Push Along, or now just Push Along, are also still here. So the weird scaling stuff is weird, the wide wheels are weird, and, you know, that kind of, all those issues are the same. But as actual product, I think this is pretty nice. And if you wanted to collect, you know, some Thomas themed or 75th anniversary kind of themed merchandise, I think this is a really cool way to get a lot of engines. So the next question is price. How much did I pay for this? So in Australia, the full price of this set is 50 Australian dollars. So that works out as $5 per engine, not factoring in the fact that obviously, you know, this would be cheaper than an engine because you can't really buy these trucks separately, but also Noor Jahan is usually a little bit more expensive, and then the tender engines are more expensive again. So $5 is how much you pay for the small engines when you buy them at a store in Australia, but the bigger ones are usually like 8 or 9 or 10. So you are getting a discount, I think, here, kind of, although obviously this is probably worth less than the other engines. But I was a bit kind of not super keen to pay, you know, $50 for it because I don't normally collect these. I just wanted to collect it because it was 75th anniversary merchandise. But thankfully, there was a 20% off sale, which is exciting. So I essentially paid $40 for this. And for $40, I think this is a steal because you were getting a lot of different engines. You're getting them in unique paint schemes, which are going to look nice as a collectible. And also, I think a kid would love to play with them because they look very exciting. And you get a lot of different characters. So I think for that price, it's pretty good value. For full price, it's still a pretty good deal. But obviously, you know, it depends what you think a good deal is. But yeah, please let me know your thoughts on this one. I'm really excited to hear it. This was not like something I was expecting to pick up. I didn't even know it was coming out, but I just saw it on the shelf and it surprised me and I knew I had to buy it. So that's all for this review. Thanks for watching. That's all we've got time for. This is XtremeTrainz.